Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm Max, and this is my affirmation video from a book I've been copying by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh, and I've copied it here in my book and with my pen, and I just wrote it here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and read it and just reaffirm everything that I've written here, as you can see. So we'll go ahead and continue on. You can see all my videos are the same. I'm Max. I changed my name. I changed. We change. Things need to change. So as you scroll through all of my other videos, you understand what's going on. Because I'm Max. I'm going to go ahead and continue on reading this here to you as I see you. And I think as the time has been going on, it's almost been a minute. And we've been doing this for so long now. So we'll go ahead and continue on. This is the secret of health. Well, you know what? I think we're actually gonna have to take it back. Let me take it back. We're a little ahead of ourselves here. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because I've already have it written. So it doesn't really matter at this point. This is the silent power of thought in controlling and directing one's forces. So we're going to go ahead and continue on reading here. And I hope you're really listening because I really have a lot of information here. And I'm just going to go ahead and read it really fast to you. I mean, maybe not too fast, but I'm going to just read it. Because that's all I'm going to do. Alright, this is the silent power of thought controlling and directing one's forces. Now, I hope you're listening to me. The most powerful forces in the universe are silent forces in accordance with 2 minutes. In accordance with the intensity of the power which does the fourth. You know what? And if I repeat it and if it's an affirmation video. This is just one take. I only do it one time. And then I go pass out or eat my food and just do my thing. This is just one take. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to share with you. And I hope you understand. And I hope you take away what I have to say here. Because this is the key to unlocking what I'm about to unlock. And I'm just trying to tell you. And so, if you have anything to say, this says right here. I'm showing you. I'm telling you exactly how to do it. You know what? Wait right here. Now that I have your attention. Wait right here. This book right here that I have by my nightstand, you see? And then I just... You see what I'm saying? Alright, so... I'm trying to tell you right now. I'm geeking, man. The silent power of thought controlling and directing one's forces. The most powerful forces in the universe are silent forces. And in accordance with the intensity of its power in which force becomes beneficial and which is rightly or destructively or wrongly employed, hence a mask. This is common knowledge in regard to mechanical forces such as steam, electricity, etc. But few have learned, so that's why I'm here now. Because I'm Max. Few have learned. And to apply this knowledge into the realm of mind, which as thought forces have been powerful of all and continue to be sent forth as currents of salvation and or destruction. At the stage of our evolution, we have entered into the possession of these forces, and the whole trend of our present advancement is their complete subjection to these wisdoms that have been materialized in such health, and it is found in complete self of mastery, and to compare and to command to love your enemies resolves itself in which it can be now understood in such a possession of that sublime wisdom by taking hold of mastering and transmuting those mind forces which are of the subject or which are helplessly born into which is the stream upon the current events of selfishness. The Hebrew prophets, of which the perfect knowledge of supreme always related outward events into which is associated by the national disaster or success within the thoughts and desires that are dominated in the nation at the time. The knowledge of such I could just repeat it. Such casual power in the basis of all the prophecies, as it is the basis of real wisdom and power, national events, and simply working in the out, in the art, say it again, psychic forces of the nation. Wars, plagues, famines, and the meeting and clashing of wrongly directed thought forces. The understanding of which all of these are destruction steps as the agent of the law. It is foolish to describe in such an influence of one person to of a body of people of crowning of horror of national selfishness. It is silent and conquering thought forces that bring about all of these things into manifestation. The universe grew out of thought. Matter in fact, it is always found to be objectified by thought. All human accomplishments were first wrought thought, and they were thought and materialized. Authors, inventors, and architects first build up their work in thought, and having perfected it in all its parts as a complete harmonious a whole upon the whole thought plane, and to commence to materialize it and to bring it down into the material sense plane. When the thought forces are directed in harmony, it is an overruling law. They are upbuilding, a preservative, but they are subverted and they become disintegrating and self-destructive. To adjust all your thoughts to a perfectly unswerving faith in the omnipotence of supremacy of all good is to cooperate with that good to realize within yourself the solution in the destruction of all evil. Believe and you shall live, and there how men are of a true meaning of salvation. Salvation from the darkness of negation of evil by entering into upon the realization of the living light of the eternal good. Where there is fear, worry, anxiety, doubt, trouble, all of those other things, disappointment, there is, let me flip the page, ignorance, and back of all of these conditions, mind directive outcome of selflessness, of which is based upon the inherent belief of the power supremacy of evil. Excuse me, I have to just let that out because this is an affirmation video. Therefore, constitute practical atheism. It's very rough out there. And to live and become subject to these negative and soul-destroying conditions of mind is the only real atheism. It is salvation from such a condition of humankind needs, and we cannot boast of the salvation in which we are helpless and obedient slaves. To fear and to worry is a sinful curse, and for which, if we really believe into these internal justices of these omnipotent beliefs in which we are the external justice and the boundless love of which no reason or to worry, to fear or to worry or to doubt or to deny or disbelief, in which from of these states that have weakness and failure are proceeded and to represent annulling disintegrating of which are positive thought forces which would otherwise speed up their object into the power which is brought about them into these results. To overcome these negative conditions is to enter upon life, is to cease to be a slave and to become a master. That is only by which you can be overcome, and that is steady, persistent growth and inward knowledge. To mentally deny evil is not sufficient. It must be a daily practice by risen above and understood. To mentally from the good is inadequate. It must be by unswerving endeavor to be entered upon this comprehended of intelligent practice and self-control that quickly leads to the knowledge of interior thought forces and later on to the acquisition of power by which is rightly employed and directed. In measure of which you master yourself and your mental forces, instead of being controlled upon them, which you will master your affairs and circumstances. There are people who will be in touch with everything in a crumble way. They cannot retain this success, even when it is placed in their hands. Such people dwell continually on these conditions of mind, which are a negation of power, to be forever wallowing in the begs of doubt, to be drawn continually into the quicksand of fear, and blown ceaselessly about the winds of anxiety, is to be a slave and to live upon the slave, and even though the success of influence be forever knocking of the door, seeking of admittance. Such people, being without faith and without self-governance of their affairs, are slaves to their circumstances, in reality, and slaves to themselves, and such, taught by affliction and ultimately pass from weakness to strength by the stress of the bitter experience, faith and purpose constitute the motive power of life, in which is nothing that is strong as such as flaking unflinching purpose. It may not accomplish by the daily exercise of silent faith. The thought forces are gathered together, and by the daily strengthening of silent purpose, and those forces are directed towards the object of accomplishment. whatever your position in life may be. Before you can enter into upon any measure of success, usefulness, and power, you must learn how to focus your thought forces by cultivating calmness and repose. It may be that you are the business executive and that you're suddenly confronted with overwhelming difficulty and probable disaster. You grow fearful and anxious and are more at your wits' end. To persist in such a state of mind would be fatal, for the anxiety you step in may be corrected by judgment and passes out. Now, if you will take the advantage of a quiet hour or two in the early morning or night and go away into some solitary spot or into some room or where you will be absolutely free and have nothing but to seat yourself in such an attitude that will forcibly direct you right away from the object of anxiety by dwelling upon something in your life that is pleasing, by bliss giving and a calm repose of strength which will gradually steal into your mind in anxiety and will pass away. Upon an instant that you will find your mind reverting back to the lower pain of worry, it is back again by reestablished upon the plane of peace and strength. Man, I'm just repeating it off my dome. When this is fully accomplished, you may be able to concentrate upon your whole mind, upon the solution of your difficulty, which is intricate and insurmountable and to know of your anxiety will be made plain and easy, and you will be able to see that the clear vision of perfect judgment in which belong a calm, untroubled mind, the right course to pursue, and the proper end to be brought about. It may be even that the try you today, after today, before you'll be able to be perfectly calm in your mind. But if you persevere, you will certainly accomplish it in the course that it is set upon you, and the hour of calmness must be carried out. Doubtless, when you are involved in the business of the day and the worries again creep in your mind and you begin to dominate you, you will begin to think that the course is wrong or foolish, but not need to have such suggestions be guided absolutely and entirely by the vision of calmness on which these shadows are not of anxiety. The hour of calmness and the hour of illumination is correct judgment by such a course of mental discipline that has scattered thought forces reunited and directed, like the rays of searchlight upon the problem at issue, with the result that gives way before them. There is no difficulty, however great, but that will wield before a powerful concentration of thought, and no legitimate object may be speedily actualized in the intelligent use and the direction of one's soul forces, not until you have gone deeply into searching your inner nature and have overcome many enemies that lurk there. Can you have any approximate conception of the subtle power of thought, its inseparable relation to outward and material things, or of its magical potency when rightly poised and directed in readjusting and transforming the life conditions? Every thought you think is a force set out in accordance with its nature and intensity, will go out and seek lodgment in minds that are receptive to it, and will react upon yourself for good or evil. There is ceaseless understanding of between the mind and the continual interchange of thought forces. Selfish and disturbing thoughts are so mind limited and destructive forces, and these are messengers of evil sent out to stimulate and augment the evil in other minds, which in turn sends them back into which is this added power, while thoughts that are calm, pure, and unselfish are so many angelic messengers sent out into the world that have health, healing, and blessedness upon their wings, counteracting the evil forces, pouring out the oil upon the troubled waters of anxiety and sorrow, and restoring the broken hearts of the heritage of the immortality. Think again thoughts, and they will quickly become actualized in your outward life in the form of good conditions. Control your soul forces, and you'll be able to shape your outward life as you will. The difference between a saver and a sinner is this, that the one is the perfect control of forces within him or her, the other is dominated, controlled by them. There are absolutely no other way to true power and abiding peace by the self-control of self-government and self-purification. To be at the mercy of disposition is to be impotent and unhappy and little real use in the world. The conquest of petty likes and dislikes, your understanding loves and hates, and your fits of anger, suspicion, and jealousy, and all those changing moods to which you are more or less helplessly subject. This is the task in which before you will leave the web of life into golden threads of happiness and prosperity. Insofar as you are enslaved by the changing moods within you, you will need to depend upon others on the outward aids of your walk through life. If you would walk firmly, securely, and would walk accomplishedly in the achievement of which you learn to rise above all and control all such disturbing and retarding vibrations, you must daily practice the habit of putting your mind at rest, going into the silence, and what that is commonly called meditating. This is a method of replacing a troubled thought with one of weakness of a strength. Until you succeed in doing this, you cannot hope to direct your mental forces upon the problems and pursuits of life with any appreciable measures of success. It is a process of diverting one's scattered forces into the positive and most powerful channel of all time. Just as useless marsh may be converted into the field of golden corn or fruitful golden by draining and directing and scattering harmful streams into one well-cut channel, one of the most successful channels to ever survive. Well-cut channel, so by acquiring calmness and subduing and directing the thought currents within yourself, you will save your soul and enhance your heart life. As you succeed in gaining mastery over your impulses and thoughts, you will begin to feel a growing power within you, new and silent power that has settled feeling that will aspire and give strength and will remain within you. Your talent powers will begin to unfold themselves, whereas formerly your efforts were weak and ineffectual. You will now be able to work within a calm confidence, which commands success. And along with this new power and strengthening, there will be awakened within you the new interior illumination known as intuition. And you will walk no longer in darkness and speculation, but in light and certainty. With the development of this soul vision, judgment and mental penetration will be incalculably increased, and they will be evolved within you, and that prophetic vision by the aid of which you will be able to sense coming events and to forecast with remarkable accuracy the results of your efforts. And I'm just the measure of which alter from within. Your outlook in life will alter. As you alter your mental attitude towards others, they will alter their mental attitudes and conduct towards you. As you rise above the lower debilitating and destructive thought forces, you will come in contact with positive, strengthening, upbuilding currents generated by strong, pure, and noble minds. Your happiness will be immeasurably intensified, and you will begin to realize the joy, strength, power in which you are born only of self-mastery. This joy, strength, and power will continue radiating from you, and without the effort of your part, though you are utterly unconscious of it, strong people will be drawn to you and influence will be put in your hands. In accordance with your altered thought world, your outward events will shape themselves. To continue to be strong, useful, and happy, you must cease to be passive and negative and begging and impure and all of these streams of thought. You must learn to command your desires and to say with authority what thoughts you shall admit into the mansion of your soul. Even a very partial success in self-mastery adds great to one's power, and those who succeed in perfecting this divine accomplishment enter in the possession of undreamed of wisdom and inward strength and peace. Such people realize that all the forces of the universe aid and protect their footsteps because they are the masters of their souls. Let me take it back. Take it back. That was the silent power of thought, controlling and directing one's forces through a book by James Allen, Poverty to Power. It's 2 books in there. As a Man Thinketh, Poverty to Power. I copied it here in my affirmation journal and just repeated it on the camera. I'm Max. I hope you're listening, and I'm out.